What's up, party people in the house? You thought you could get rid of me, but you couldn't. I'm back after being vanquished to the hills of Pennsylvania in the Poconos for a weekend. Missed my first show ever, but I'm back, and I'm here with my main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing, Chad?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm exhausted, but I am replenishing my soul with a cup of coffee. So, ready to talk football.
Right on. Coffee and football talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
And vodka is the other thing that keeps me going. Tonight, I am drinking a new vodka. It is called Rocktown, made in Arkansas. So,
sounds disgusting. But
well, I'm going to take my first sip right now. We're going to find out. It's actually pretty good. I mix it with some club soda and some lime, and it's delicious. So thank you.
Interesting.
Rocktown. So it was moderately priced, about the same as, I don't know, Absolute or Smirnoff. But okay. I like it better than either one of those. So 80 proof. Like I said, product of Arkansas. Delicious stuff.
I never really considered getting my vodka from Arkansas, but, maybe that's something I'd consider in the future.
I mean, is it really any different than Texas? I mean, Deep Eddies and Tito's, my favorite, are both from Texas.
That's true. Both from Austin.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, maybe y'all know how to do it down there in the Southwest.
Yeah, Austin's weird like that, though. I mean, they're just off the cuff, doing whatever they want.
Yeah, they don't really seem to be part of Texas. They're their own island.
Yeah. It's just kind of the blue dot in the middle of the red ocean, right? So,
right on.
But I guess we're gonna be talking rookies here, right?
Yeah, that's what you do this time of year. If you care about football this time of year, it's rookies.
Yeah. Yep. I'm super excited about that, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get right into it in a second. But I did want to mention we at the Dynasty Warzone, we have started a reality sports online league. It's an auction league. It's a ton of fun. We're gonna have a live draft. It is salary capped. It follows the actual NFL salary cap. So if you ever, if you're like a Bears fan or a Giants fan like myself, and you're looking at your GMs or your former GMs, because you get a new one every year, and you're like, man, just hire me. I can do this thing better. This is your chance. This is your chance. It's a great time. Kyle over at the SmackDown, he's joining us on it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we at the end, we're gonna give you guys an email address, and if you're interested in joining up, it's going to be first come first serve, and if you can make the auction and join our live feed, then it'll be a good time.
Right now, I'll jump in and save you. Sorry, I was having a little mic difficulty. But yet another situation where you'll have an advantage because I've never done this before and you have. So you can smack me around for the first couple seasons, and then I'll learn, and I'll the student will eventually become the master, and look me up in 3 years when I'm winning championships in Chad's league, I guess.
I'll warn you guys now that it is a time sink, right? It's difficult. It is a difficult league. If you're struggling with Dynasty now, it might not be your forte, but if Superflex, tight end premium, standard draft, snake draft leagues are getting a little bit boring for you or a little bit monotonous, then this will be your thing.
Does it look like I'm struggling with Dynasty?
No. You're right in. I was talking about the general population. But anyways, join us.
All right, we're gonna do rookie rankings. So this is gonna be a long play game. We're still playing a game. That's our name. That's what we do. Dynasty War Games. But it's gonna be a long play game. We're gonna give our rankings, and if any of our rankings happen to actually hit, like if I have somebody ranked wide receiver 3 and they're the third drafted wide receiver, that'll be a point, and this will be a game just between me and Chad. So let's
actually do this one. Let's actually do this one after the season, because we're not even talking about the NFL draft here. We're talking about the players we think are the best players. So let's go after the season, and we'll look back at how these players actually performed, and we'll award the winner from there.
Yeah,
it's a really long game.
Okay, that is a really long game. That's ambitious. Okay, I like it because, to be perfectly honest with you, that's how my rankings are set up. I do rankings as far as, like who I think is most talented, who will have the most success in the NFL. And I don't know where they're gonna go in the draft. I'm not McShay or Kuiper.
Too many scheme fits and stuff we don't know about the specific
Right.
teams. So
Right,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I like to think I know a little bit about scheme, but yeah, I don't do it for a living like those guys do. We just do it for fun. All right. So where you want to start? You want to start at quarterback or do you want to start at wide receiver?
Where else would we start? We got to start at quarterback, right?
All right. Let's start at quarterback. So do you want to each? All right. You want to go 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
Let's do tiers.
Tiers. Okay. All right. So you can go first. Who's your first quarterback, and I guess who's your first tier of quarterbacks?
So my first tier of quarterbacks, I actually have 4 in the first tier. And it's your standard 4. I am going to break it down a little bit more and say the guys that I like a little bit more. But they're all pretty similar to me. Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett, and Matt Corral. Those are the 4 guys for me. I think Sam Howell and Carson Strong I would kind of put Sam Howell in a tier of his own, and then Carson Strong in a tier of his own right after that. I just don't like Carson Strong. I'm sure everybody that listens to the pod knows that already, but Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder are my 2 favorite guys in tier 1. I think Ridder is being severely underrated. I think he's a fantastic athlete. He just does everything well enough, in my opinion. And I think teams are falling in love with him the further we go along this process. So I think he is going to end up going in the first round. I saw a mock come out. I think it was Chad Reuter, or however you say his name, for NFL.com.
Reuter.
Yeah, I think in his latest mock, he had him going like to, I think, the Falcons, or maybe the Steelers trading up for him or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around there. Anyway, so
yeah,
from 12 to 14, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be a good spot for him. Kenny Pickett, I like him, a decent amount, but I kind of think the athleticism of Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder, when it comes to, dynasty fantasy purposes, that always just gives them the edge, right? You look at guys like Jalen Hurts, who maybe aren't the most talented quarterbacks in the world.
Lamar.
And they're going to get it done at least until they're able to develop, if they develop, right? So,
right.
Malik Willis at his absolute floor is going to be a pretty good fantasy quarterback. I think he will. That'll give him the time to develop.
Would you say that Malik and Ridder are in a different tier then for you?
Yeah, I struggled with that because I wanted to put them in a tier by themselves, but then, I don't think there's that much of a difference between the 4 guys. I think, maybe if you're putting a number on it out of 100, I would probably put like a maybe 88, 87 on Malik Willis and Ridder, and then maybe Corral and Pickett somewhere around the mid 80s, 85, 86. I don't think there's much of a difference. With Sam Howell, I kind of have him like, quite a bit below there. Like I would put him just at like 83 or 82 or somewhere around that kind of range.
Okay, so B-.
Yeah,
I disagree quite a bit. So I have Malik Willis as in a tier of his own. All right, so I have him as the number 1 quarterback in the first tier because I just see he has by far the strongest arm. He has by far the best athleticism. I don't think
he's by far the strongest arm.
Who do you think is close to him?
I mean, we just saw Desmond Ridder at his pro day throw a 70-yard bomb.
Okay. Okay.
I think Malik Willis at his pro day was at like 67 or 66 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, Malik Willis has a really strong arm, but I just don't think it's by far stronger than Ridder's.
Okay. All right. So so I guess he's the only one that comes close, right? in athleticism and with the arm, but I still don't think he's there with either one of them, right? So Willis has the strongest arm and is the most athletic, and he's the only one out of all of these guys as I could see being like a legitimate rushing quarterback. While, like you said, while he develops like Hurts or Lamar, I don't know. I really kind of see him somewhere in between those two. I don't know that he'll develop the way Lamar did, and I don't know that he'll be as inconsistent or inaccurate as Hurts, because he hasn't even he's shown better accuracy than Hurts just in college from what I've seen. The problem I have with Ritter is he's really inconsistent on the field, and from reports I haven't seen. I wasn't at the Senior Bowl, but reports of the Senior Bowl, he's very inconsistent. Like very high highs, but then inconsistent on accuracy on intermediate routes and things like that. So that's what drops Ritter down for me. And I feel like Corral and Pickett are savvier quarterbacks, kind of maybe a little more polished than Ritter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think Corral, if he finds a team that's going to run that RPO system and dedicate themselves to it, then I think he can run that system more efficient than probably Ritter's going to be able to run a pro style offense, like maybe in year 2. But I think Ritter is definitely a more pro ready quarterback than Corral is. I mean, you can make the argument that Pickett is more pro ready, but Willis is by far the only one that I would say probably needs to sit a year. Like he's pretty underdeveloped quarterback wise, I mean, put his athleticism aside, which I mean, that can bail him out a lot and give him that time to develop, like I was saying. But, I just don't even think he's the quarterback Lamar Jackson was coming out, which is saying something, because Lamar Jackson, I mean, hindsight being what it is, when he was coming out, he wasn't a very good quarterback, like just pure quarterback.
No, he was very inaccurate. He just was an elite runner.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I get what you're saying. So I have it like this, right? So, because I think Malik Willis has by far the highest upside of all these guys. I really think that he could be a star if he develops the right way. I don't think he's exactly the same kind of quarterback as Josh Allen, but if he makes that kind of leap, and I guess I don't know, it's sort of a crazy thing to say because no one really ever has, made that kind of leap like Josh Allen did. So it's tough because I think a lot, like now everybody's going to compare everyone to Josh Allen, and it's not something that's going to happen with everyone. There's a really good chance that he turns out to be either, Jamarcus Russell or somewhere in between.
I mean, we may honestly. I mean, people are going to mention Josh Allen every year, and I've been guilty of it this year too.
Yeah, I actually just caught myself. It's a lazy poor comp because Josh Allen is his own thing, and I don't think that's it's not going to happen every year. It's not going to happen.
It may never happen again.
Yeah, exactly.
That jump was pretty historic, maybe once in a lifetime kind of thing. That you see somebody just go from. I think people misremember how bad he was. It was not a good. He didn't look like a starting NFL quarterback. He didn't look like he was in the top 32 of quarterbacks when it came to talent.
Yeah, it looked really bad.
Yeah.
I see the thing is with Malik. I do see a high upside. I'm sorry for comparing him to Josh Allen because it's a totally different thing, but I do see a high upside. He's not Lamar and he's not Hurts. He's somewhere in the middle, right? We'll see what kind of development, from all accounts, is great personality, smart guy. There's no reason why he can't develop. He's coachable. Yeah. He's got to go to the right team. He's got to go to the right staff. But I just see him in a tier of his own. I just don't think that anybody can reach the heights that he can in this class other than him. And then I have Pickett also in a tier of his own in the second tier because I think he's the most pro ready. I think that I could see him stepping in and by year 2 being Derek Carr-ish. And I consider that pretty high praise. I think Derek Carr is an above average NFL quarterback, and that's not easy to find, right? So I think I don't worry about the hands kind of thing. I think he's a good solid quarterback with a good solid head on his shoulders. He doesn't have a rocket arm. He doesn't have he's not the most athletic, but I think he's savvy, and I think he can hopefully read a defense and step into. I really think he can play in a lot of different offenses. I think he can step into most offenses and learn them. Whereas Corral, I have a tier below because I think he's just looks like a system quarterback to me, like you alluded to earlier, with the RPOs and schemed one read or run kind of, schemed out, kind of getting guys open in space near the line of scrimmage. If it's not that, then he may really struggle, and I don't know that he'll ever develop past that. And Ritter, like I said, is the inconsistency, and I actually have Corral, Ritter, and Howell in the same tier, just because I think Howell gets sort of a bad rap. I think he's better. He's better than he was this year. Probably not as good as he was last year. Probably somewhere in the middle. He lost a lot of weapons, and it definitely does. It definitely does hurt a guy, especially a guy that was as young as he is. Hopefully it helps his development and he bounces back. And a little adversity sometimes is good for a young man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get the whole like he lost a lot of weapons thing, but a lot of these quarterbacks are doing it without the weapons he's had, like their whole career in college. So I don't see. I think that's kind of a cop out. And I mean, not saying that that's not the reason he fell, but I just don't think that's a reason to play as to struggle as much as he did, compared to where he was last year. I don't know. I don't think that he's I don't think he's a first round quarterback. But a lot of people would say that about Ritter.
I don't think Ritter is either. I think they're both second rounders.
Yeah, I disagree. I think the NFL is going to disagree too. I think he's going to end up going in the first round and
okay, cool.
Surprise some people.
If that happens, awesome. You and I just did a 14-team rookie draft that's before the NFL draft, obviously, since we just did it. But yeah, Ritter went pretty high in the second round.
Yep.
Actually, end of the first, I think. It's 14 teams, and then there's an extra pick at the end of the first. So 201 is actually like the 16th pick. And I think Ritter went somewhere around 14th or 15th. So, I think there are some other people out there, and there are some industry people in that league. And I think that actually was a content creator, a podcaster out there that made that pick. So I think there's some people out there that agree with you. And hey, if he gets the draft capital, I'm jumping on board. I'm not married to these rankings. These are just what I think right now.
Yeah, I think remember when we had Dallas from the Rookie Rundown on the show, and we were both just gushing over Ritter, and I think at the time in mock drafts he was going, I mean, in the second round pretty much in almost every mock draft. And now, I mean, like I said, you're just seeing him go, it started like a couple of weeks ago, him going to the Steelers, and now he's all the way, in the early teens in like that 12 to 13 range with the Steelers trading up to go get him.
Who, Ritter, really?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So, I mean,
I haven't looked at just taking mocks lately.
It's taking people time and I think the Ritter's pro day and his combine definitely helped him out because he's, I mean, a 97th percentile athlete. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's yeah, I believe in him. I think he's going to be a really good player.
Right on. So what I've been doing to prepare for the draft and really for the rookie drafts that come right after the NFL draft is I've been reading a lot and I've been watching as much film as I possibly can. And that's I'm going to give a shout out to Devi Dashboard. These guys have really good tools that are very easy to use. And anyway, I don't want to talk about them too much, but so like I haven't been looking at mocks and where guys have gone. I just, like I said, I watched some Ritter and he misses too many throws for me.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys miss throws, but yeah.
I watched Corral and came away way under impressed. I thought he was gonna have a lot more zip on his ball, and I don't know, man. He didn't look like a pro quarterback to me. Looked like a scheme guy, No,
I mean, I get what you're saying. I think his accuracy is pretty well regarded. I think he does. The only thing that really worries about me is that he's pretty undersized, and he takes some hits that you're just like, man, like,
Well, it's not the accuracy I have a problem with. It's the sort of savvy in the pocket. Like you said, he takes hits and he doesn't.
Yeah,
really
he takes a decent amount of sacks. Yeah, that he probably doesn't need to.
For his athleticism, he should. I don't know. I think
he's like hovering around 200 pounds or something, and I think he's like 6 feet tall or something like that, somewhere around there. Maybe 6'1" or something, but
not a lot of guys at that size make it work. Actually, Breeze did, but he's special.
Yeah, but I think if they get him in the right offense, he's gonna do really well. But yeah. So you want to move on to running backs?
Running backs? All right, we can do running backs. I wanted to do wide receivers.
I think running backs should be pretty quick. Wide receivers are going to take a bit, so we'll just knock out these running backs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so I'll start off with my tier one is one player is Breece Hall. What's your tier one?
Breece Hall.
Okay, just Breece Hall, right?
Just Breece Hall.
And I'm under the opinion that he's got a chance to be, a stud fantasy player. He's not one of these super elite prospects like Saquon, but I definitely see him as having the potential to be an RB1. And I don't really even think it's that scheme dependent. One thing that could hurt him is if he went to Buffalo, which I've heard they like him. Because he'll have a little bit of competition, but he'll have from the other running backs, but he'll have a lot of competition from Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think if they take Breece Hall, then they're committed to him. Whoever takes him is going to be committed to him.
Yeah, if they take him in the first, then they're going to use him.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go in the first, but I think he goes as a high second. I think if you're taking a running back in the beginning of the second round somewhere, then you're.
But if Buffalo's taking him,
you probably have to trade up to get him. You probably have to trade up to get him,
or they trade back.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I like Breece Hall a lot. I just don't think he's. I don't know. Like I wouldn't have taken Najee in the first, right?
Right.
If I was an NFL team, so that's just a little bit of context. But I don't think he's a player that should be taken in the first round. I think he's a great running back. But he's not, anything ridiculously special,
Yeah, but I think if you take him in your rookie draft, whether it's 101 or 102, you'll be happy with your return.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm probably taking him 101 in my rookie drafts. I was more so just saying as far as NFL teams are concerned, I don't know. You see it with, Clyde and those kind of guys that get pushed up and taken in the first because teams really like them. So you never know. He definitely could go in the back end of the first, but I wouldn't do it.
If Buffalo decides, they need a running back, he's the only highly talented. I don't know. That's a weird way to say it, but he's the only back that I think is worthy of either a late first or early second round pick in this draft.
I disagray.
So, all right, who's your tier two?
Spiller and
Walker.
Yeah, Spiller and Walker. I like Kenneth Walker. I like Spiller a little bit more. I know Spiller's 40 time was not what we like to see. I think it was a 4.63, 4.62 or something like that.
Oh, was it? What was that at his pro day?
Yeah, at his pro day because he didn't run at the combine.
I didn't see his pro day numbers. How was everything else?
He didn't test well, but that's expected though. He's a big back.
Yeah, he's
a big back that plays big. Yeah,
feet, vision, power, good contact balance. He's not a he's not a combine kind of guy.
He's just a natural football player, and
Yeah.
when you watch him, he seems like he just knows what's going on the field. Like he hits developing holes just as they're developing. I mean, he's waiting for his blockers.
And that's what I just said with feet and vision.
Yeah. I mean, he's a quick guy for his size. Kind of deceivingly quick, and he just doesn't have that, kind of traditional long speed that you see, breakaway speed from some guys. But I will just add that I know he ran a 4.63. I watched a lot of Texas A&M games. Like I'm only 50 minutes away from A&M. And I have a lot of friends that love A&M. So I'm watching them every Saturday, and I don't remember a lot of times him getting caught.
So good.
So it's really weird. Like he doesn't look super fast, but it just seems like nobody's catching him. It's really odd. I like Isaiah Spiller a lot. I actually don't have him. Like I have Breece Hall in a tier of his own, but just barely. Like if Isaiah Spiller tested a little bit better, like even just slightly below average, I would put them in the same tier. It's just that Breece Hall tested like an animal. I think he ran somewhere in the high 4.3s or something.
Yeah.
But I think as far as football players go, Isaiah Spiller is just a natural football player. Kenneth Walker is another guy that tested really well.
Good running back. I watched him. I like him. He hits the hole hard. He's got a lot of burst, good vision, good contact balance.
Yeah. How do you have Spiller and Walker as far as the tiers go? I
have them both in the same tier. Right now I like Walker a little better just because, like I said, I think he's got a little better burst. I do really like Spiller as a football player. He kind of reminds me of like a big Kareem Hunt. Yeah. Because he's bigger than Kareem Hunt. He can definitely deal out some damage, and he likes to. You can see that. Whereas that's not as much of a part of Walker's game. But I do think that Walker's could hit a home run. Like he's a legit 4.4 guy. And he definitely, you can see it on the field. He's definitely got short area quickness. I saw more out of Spiller as a pass catcher, so that gives him a bump. Though I do think that Walker can catch passes. Spiller might actually be able to, run an arrow route or run a Texas route and actually get open though.
But I don't think it's. I honestly don't think it's that close. Like I think Spiller's the best pass game running back in as far as like overall running backs in the draft. Yeah, I mean he was consistently tracking balls that wide receivers should be tracking. I
saw him run routes, and he looked really good in the passing game. So
and just the way he runs out on screens and lets the screen develop naturally. I mean, he's just, like I said, he's just everything that you would think like a developed football player should be good at. He's good at already. Like he can do everything. He's just not the specimen that, you kind of like out of the traditional, early first round talent running backs, which that's why he's not that, I mean, if he was as physically gifted as some of the other guys that we've seen going in the first round running back wise, then I mean, he's as good as them coming out, like just as a football player to me.
Yeah, that's all right. There are plenty of running backs that have been elite, without elite speed. That's really not something that I worry about with running backs. So, I mean, the issue with Spiller is I'm not sure what his draft capital is going to be because of it. So, if he goes in the fourth round or later, it could be tough to take him in the first round of a rookie draft. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he went in the fourth round. I would say third round is kind of like, where I would legitimately be shocked if he went in the fourth round.
Well, that's what I was saying though earlier, is that I think Breece Hall is the only player that's going to go high in the NFL draft. Whereas Walker, if he goes like in the second, it would be like late second or third, probably. Right now,
I think you could say that for any of these guys, though. I think they could all go in the late second. They could all go early second. They could all go late second. I don't think that any of them are, out of this world talent where you're like, man, they're so much better than the guys we have in place if you have a decent running back on your roster already.
Yeah.
Um,
So, can we take a couple questions from chat real quick?
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Mike Kinney asks, would Detroit take Hall with 32? And my answer is, God, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
Please don't mess up my boy Swift. I love him. I mean,
yeah, that'd be a massive mistake. I think they're pretty committed to building for whatever quarterback they're going to put in place, unless they put one in place this year, which is a possibility. So I think they're probably going to go, either wide receiver or, hit that defense a little bit and try to get that team right.
Yeah, agreed. Great. So now Brian Ford asks, does Walker's – can you put this one up on the screen, actually?
Yeah.
So does Walker's, in quotes, only really did it 1 year out of nowhere worry you? For me, no, because it was in the SEC, right?
Yeah. I think it doesn't worry me too much. But I don't have Walker. Some guys have Walker first as their top running back, and if I had him as my top running back, it'd worry me.
He's nowhere near the talent of Breece Hall, in my opinion.
So as the third running back in the draft, I'm not really. I think anybody third and on, really second and on is going to have some decent question marks to them.
Walker and Spiller, I think you have to pair up with another back and hope that they're the lead, right? I could see Walker as like really good complement to James Conner.
I disagree completely. I think if you're drafting Spiller, he has to be your three down back. Like that's just the player he is.
Okay.
If you're gonna,
I want a little more upside out of my running game though. Like I was gonna say, I'd like to pair him.
What do you mean by upside though? I mean he's
like a home run hitter. I would want to pair him with like Michael Carter with the Jets. I don't and like give each guy a series.
No,
I know it's not good for Dynasty, but for football, that's what I would.
No. That's not really my opposition to it. I think that Spiller is just a good football player. Like he does every part of the game well. So you want him on the field to do those things. Like he's a good pass blocker. He's a good pass catcher. He's good finding the holes. He's just he has natural vision to him. I don't see a reason to take him off the field, unless he's a bust. But if you're drafting him in the second round, you're not thinking he's a bust, right? Or that's not what you're drafting him to be. Or like you don't think he has that bust potential. Second round picks, or especially at running back, are day one contributors. So I think if anybody's taking him, they're not taking him to be a change of pace guy. They're not taking him, to be an early down back. Like he's an all around running back. Okay. He's just not. He just doesn't have the high end athletic ability. But there's plenty of running backs that have been historically great that haven't had the athletic ability. Plenty of them.
Elijah Mitchell.
I'm talking about like actual good running backs, but yeah.
All right, so that's cool. I think we've beaten that one down a little bit, and thank you for the correction, Brian Ford. Big 10 for Walker, but still Power 5 conference. All right, so this is where it gets real, right? I think everybody has the tiers. Most people have the tiers where we have them, whether you have Walker, Spiller above each other is kind of the question, but really this is where we get down to it. So who's your RB4?
Okay, so my tier 3, I have two guys in it, and that's Dameon Pierce and James Cook.
Okay.
Pierce over in Florida, kind of the anti-Spiller, really, really, really athletic, does have the the size you like. He's a powerful runner, great burst. He doesn't maybe have the breakaway speed, but he's just really, really, really athletic.
Yeah, I like Pierce a lot too.
Yeah. He's just not. He's not like quick. Like he's not quick laterally. He doesn't. He's not going to be very. He's not going to make guys miss side to side. I think if you don't provide good blocking for him, he's not going to bring anything to the table. You need to block for him. But once you do, he's just a good running back.
Gotcha. All right, then we'll talk to me about the paper champion James Cook. I compare him to like he's like a football player you cut out of paper. If the wind blows a little too hard, he falls over.
Yeah, so he's not strong. He's not like he's funny. He's not the good football player, right? Like, like I was saying with Spiller, like he's just a good football player. Like he's just an okay football player. But he's very athletic. He has ridiculous acceleration, very fast. I mean, he's going to run away from any linebacker, any safety, unless they're a freak of nature. His feet are quick, pretty decent vision. I mean, nothing special, but I mean, good enough vision. That burst and everything you were kind of wanting from a high-end running back, he kind of gives you that. He's just not,
except that he has zero contact balance. He can't run. He can't really run between the tackles unless he's got a gigantic hole. You have to get him out in space.
I don't think his contact balance is that bad. Like there's some, like, I don't think it's that bad. I think he's just light. So he just gets pushed around by bigger guys. But the only thing that concerns me about him, really concerns me, is his pass blocking is just not good. It's not good.
That's it. The only thing that concerns me, but that is also another concern, is he doesn't really try, and he really doesn't know what he's doing, and he's not big enough to do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and you see some smaller guys that can still, Darren
Sproles was a good pass blocker, actually.
Yeah.
But that's because he wanted to do it, and he was, you know what I mean, and he learned the technique.
Yeah. Cook's just not going to be that guy. He's a guy like you were saying that you would like to pair with maybe change of pace, bigger running back. Like if you didn't have if you didn't already draft a guy over in Chicago, and you needed somebody behind Monty to kind of be that change of pace, kind of eat up the defenses, let Monty eat up the defenses and let him run around. James Cook is your guy.
I think it, like on the Eagles, he would struggle to make the roster. I would have him behind Boston Scott. Like I would say he reminds me of Donnell Pumphrey. Do you remember that guy?
Not at all.
Yeah, exactly. He was a third round running back.
Yeah, I mean,
So, all right. So my tier 2 is a lot bigger. I have 4 running backs in tier 2. So in order: Tyler Algiers, Jerome Ford, Pierce, and Tyler Batty. So Algiers, he's got the size. He's got a lot of athleticism, if not speed. I just think he does a lot of things well. When you're talking about Spiller, there's a lot of those things I see in Algiers, just sort of in a lesser version. He's not Spiller. He's not as big as Spiller. He's not as quick as Spiller. He doesn't have quite the passing game chops, but he does all of it well, and he even pass blocks well.
He does not pass block well.
Algiers?
He does not pass block well.
I'm sorry. My bad. Got my notes mixed up.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you think he pass blocks well, that's fine. I
just didn't see anything negative. I watched 2 games.
Okay. Yeah, he's not a good pass blocker.
Gotcha. Okay.
he's I think he's decent. He's a decent pass catcher, like decent.
I think he's good. He just good all around, man. And I think he's got a little burst. He can run inside or outside. Good vision, hard to bring down. Really good size. I just looked like an NFL running back to me.
Yeah, I think he's a good running back. I just don't think he does everything else, well enough to be as unathletic as he is.
Gotcha.
That's the only concern I have with him. I just don't like him. So maybe I'm, a little harsh on him, but
Gotcha.
I think I have him. I don't really have my list on me that far down, but I think last time I did it, I think I had him like RB10 or RB11 or something like that. But yeah, he is a good running back though. He's a good running
I like
back.
him.
Just pure running back.
I like him. He stinks of NFL to me. Moving on, the next guy I have in that tier is Ford. And he's kind of the opposite of Algiers. I didn't see a lot of him, but man, he's fast and decent size. And he looks like he's at, when you get to this point, I think I'll take guys with traits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I echo what you said about Pierce. And then Tyler Batty, I thought it was really interesting. About the same size as Ray Rice, maybe not as gifted athletically as Ray Rice, but kind of reminded me of him.
I think Ray Rice is a guy that went pretty late in the NFL draft, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is, and I think Batty could go pretty late too. But I think he's the type of guy that sticks on a roster and maybe even takes a year or two to really see what he can do. But when he gets his chance, I think he'll be good.
Yeah, I like Batty. I don't think he's going to get drafted very high. I think he's going to be like a 6th round pick or something.
Right on. I just like the talent, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And anytime these guys are able to get on the field, then they can prove their draft capital wrong. So
right, exactly, especially a running back, because all you have to do is get out there and produce. That's Aaron Jones was drafted after Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
You know,
I just I wish he had a little bit more vision. Like I wish he was just a better, natural runner.
Right, exactly. And he's not as shifty as I'd like to see out of a guy his size. Because he's like 5'8", 200.
Yep.
All right, let's hear your third tier.
So my third tier, I have Rashad White.
Okay.
I really, really, really like Rashad White. He's a guy that I wouldn't be surprised. Like if he went in the 3rd round, I'd probably take him very, very easily, like 201, 202, 203 in rookie drafts.
Wow.
Because I think he can be a really, really good player in the NFL. He's a really good pass catching running back and really, really, really good. Just hitting the whole vision, everything you kind of like to see in like a running back that's as quick and has that straight line speed.
Yeah, man, I love what I saw out of Rashad White, and just to sort of clarify, I took him out of my rankings because I feel like I have a bias towards him right now. I traded for him in a Devy league. I traded Miles Sanders for him and a pick. I got him in a pick. And so I feel like I'm really rooting for him, and I was having a hard time ranking him. So I just took him out. I really like him, and I wanted to make him my RB3. And I thought, wow, that's probably too aggressive.
No, I don't hate it. Like if you came back next year and you said that for dynasty purposes, Rashad White was the number 1, rookie running back. Production wise at the end of the year, given the opportunity, I wouldn't be surprised because
I love him as a receiver, man. You really like him better than Spiller? You really like Spiller better than him?
Oh, I don't, I know. Now that I was thinking about that, as I said it, and I was like, oh, Rashad White. No, Rashad White's a better pass catching back.
Yeah.
He's a better pass catching back.
Yeah.
All
right, cool.
Yeah, no, his hands are like wide receiver esque. Like he can run any route. Yeah,
really quick.
Yeah.
Like he can run routes and get open on them.
Yeah, I just like Spiller so much. I think he's like as far as like running backs go, like I think he's a top tier, pass catcher for a guy that is just like a pure good running back.
Yeah, Rashad White's
but Rashad White's like a wide receiver, he's
he's nowhere near what Spiller is as a runner.
No, not at all.
He's got size though, so like I think he could develop into a really good NFL running back.
He just doesn't have and Spiller doesn't have it either, that like twitchy, like athletic kind of, side to side movement or anything like that. But he's just not.
You're not going to mistake either one of them for Shady McCoy,
Yeah, but he's just not as instinctive as Spiller is. The only thing that's really like, again, it's just one of those things, right? Like he's just a bad pass blocker to me, I think that's going to hurt him.
Yeah. But, I mean, also though, a lot of backs are bad pass blockers coming in and they can learn it. That's a want to in the NFL. Like if you want to learn that and stick on a roster, you can, it's like special teams, man. If you really want to run down at 100 miles an hour towards another guy and, head on collisions like that, there's a spot for you on an NFL team. But a lot of guys, like I said, it's a want to kind of thing.
Yeah. The only thing that I kind of meant by that was just that, his draft capital may not be what I would want it to be because his pass blocking is just not up to snuff. I think if it was a little bit better, then I would be really pushing, like hoping that he went in the third. But I think he's probably going to end up somewhere in the fourth round, which is fine. We've seen some running backs come out in the fourth round with a decent opportunity. So if he goes to the right spot, then that could work out for him. But I think if he's given the opportunity, he's going to succeed early because he just has the ability to be a PPR monster in my eyes.
Right on. A little Gainwell-esque, but has better size, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So who else is in that tier for you?
And then I have two more guys in that tier. So I have Brian Robinson.
Okay. Me too.
From Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So did we talk about him already?
No, not yet.
So Brian Robinson, I mean, traditional good runner. Yeah, traditional good runner. Another guy.
Hill, what was the guy's name with Cincinnati? Had that one really good year. Hill, what was his first name?
Oh gosh. I don't
Jeremy
remember.
Hill.
Jeremy Hill. Yep.
Jeremy Hill. Yeah, he reminds me of Jeremy Hill.
Was it Bengals? Yeah.
Bengals, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that if he didn't get catastrophically, would have had an NFL career. He had a good year or two. So I could see Brian Robinson being someone like him. But,
he has
tough. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He reminds me a decent amount of kind of a poor man's David Montgomery.
I was going to say that too. But Montgomery's very violent though. Like he like Chris Carson, like he just can't be denied sometimes.
Yeah.
Whether Brian Robinson has that or not, we'll see. I will say, if you give him a lane, he does have some speed. So he's not an accelerator, but if you give him a few steps and let him get up to speed, he can run.
Yeah, he's got to build up to that speed for sure.
Yeah.
He has a lot of patience though, just like Montgomery kind of had early on. Mm-hmm. Where if the line blocks for him, which Chicago didn't do very often, but when they did block for him, he was able to really, let the hole develop and hit it. And I think that Brian Robinson can do a lot of the same kind of stuff there. So it's just kind of the same thing with Montgomery. Like it's going to take them a little bit of time to get to that full speed. But once they do, I think that he can put a little bit of punishment on people. He's just got to play nastier, I think.
Yeah, strikes me as a draft him late, hope he pops a little bit and trade him for a second or two.
Yeah, he's a fourth or fifth round kind of guy.
If you can get him into the mid to late second, you might actually be able to get a first return out of him at one point if he gets a run with a team.
Yeah, and then
that's just a drafted trade kind of guy to me.
Yeah, I hear you. The last guy I have in that tier, and this guy was really well regarded coming out of high school. I remember some people talking about him coming out, and people still really love him. But anyways, it's Kyron Williams.
Yeah,
Notre Dame. I don't understand why people are so high on him. I honestly don't.
Well, he's an excellent receiver. He's an excellent pass blocker. He's just a good football player that's slow.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does everything except for pass block good. But he's not he's not the best pass catcher in the draft for the running backs.
But he is the best pass blocker in the draft. So
you think he's the best pass blocker in
I have heard that. So, and I've not seen any negatives from him. So,
yeah, I think he's one of the worst pass protection running backs. Yeah. Huh. I mean, he doesn't pick up blitzes like almost ever. Like, okay. Yeah, he misses a lot of assignments.
I think maybe my notes are shifted down one tile.
Okay. Yeah. I watch a decent amount of Notre Dame because my dad's a Notre Dame fan, okay. So yeah, that's actually the one, thing that I really.
Is your dad Catholic? Is that why he's a
Notre Dame
fan? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. My whole family's Catholic. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. So anyways, yeah, he's smaller guy. He does everything pretty well except for pass blocking.
Yeah, I have him in my third tier too. My third tier, I have him, and I also have James Cook. So
I'll tell you what though, he's a little guy that runs a little bit bigger than he actually is.
Yeah, I think he's a good runner. I think he's. Yeah. I actually do think. I actually do think that he's going to be a pretty good NFL running back. I mentioned him before, but like he kind of reminds me of a little Jamal Williams. Do a lot of things well, kind of slow, not a really good running back, but dependable, can get you a few yards. I just the kind of guy that could have a spot on an NFL team, especially if he's willing to play special teams.
Yeah. One of the only things that I don't like about him as a runner, which I think is a very kind of fixable thing, at least, I mean, I don't know it to be a fixable thing, but it just seems like something that's pretty fixable, is that he seems like he kind of gives up on plays a little bit. Like if the hole's not there immediately, especially on pull plays, if the hole's not there immediately and he's following the guard, like he'll give up on a play and just accept defeat and run into a tackle, and it's really, really weird. I've just seen him do it a number of times, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Just wait a second, like let the guard get there." And
of course, he doesn't have the athleticism to reverse field, so I'm probably not the vision to cut back.
The vision's a little bit of a issue and stuff, but he's pretty pretty quick. Quick-footed guy, pretty smooth, I like him.
All right, so let's move on to. I think we've put running back to bed. I think we understand that this is an underwhelming class with some guys that could surprise.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that right?
For sure.
Outside of the first 2-3 guys, the rest are really role players, and who the hell knows? If they hit the right scheme with the right coach and they develop a little, a lot of these guys could be, running, good running back twos on your team, or they could just, all of them could just be bounced out of the NFL in a year or two. But anyway, so I think the most exciting position in this draft, what I wanted to lead off with anyway, let's go tight end. No, I'm kidding. We're going to talk wide receiver. We're going to
start us off.
All right, I'm going to start us off with tier 1 is Garrett Wilson, Burks, and tier break. How about you? What's your tier one?
Say that one again.
Garrett Wilson and Burks, and that's my tier break.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be different. So my tier one, I have 4 guys in there,
Okay.
and none of them are named Treylon Burks.
Okay.
So it's Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London, Jamison Williams.
Wait, Wilson, Olave, who was third?
Drake, well, not really third. I didn't put them in any order, but Drake
Okay.
London and then Jamison
London.
Williams.
And Williams. Okay. Yeah, we are going to be different.
Yeah.
So Garrett Wilson, I think, is a day one starter on an NFL team. I would love to have him. I think he's the number one wide receiver in this class. I don't really think that he's going to be, elite top 5 kind of guy, but I do think that he's got the ability to be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. And then Treylon Burks is an athletic freak. He's been timed way faster than his 40 time on the field. As far as the miles per hour goes, he's a monster. I think it's a mistake to. I just think it's a mistake to not bet on the athletic traits that this guy has. He wants the ball. He's a my ball kind of guy. I don't really know that he's like a traditional boundary X, but I think with the right coaching, I think he'd be I think he's a hell of a wide receiver. A little raw, it might even take a little while. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of Devontae Parker. So hopefully he's got a little bit better head on his shoulder and he develops faster. I don't need a 5th-year breakout out of him, but physical traits wise, I like him. So that's my tier 1.
Yeah, I echo a lot of the same things with Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson he has the opportunity to be the best wide receiver in the class. I like Chris Olave a little bit better, but I mean pretty much the same to me. Like just flip a coin. Mm-hmm. Drake London's my favorite wide receiver in the class. I think he's going to be really, really good.
Well, let's talk about Burks before you move on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just didn't know he was in my tier 2. So Treylon Burks, yeah, he just concerns me, right? Because I'm throwing the combine aside. Like I don't take. I mean, obviously you have to take away a little bit from that because his
combine doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's there, right? Like I'm not gonna knock him down. This is where he's always been for me. So I'm not gonna knock him for it, but I'm not. He had an opportunity to do himself a lot of good in my eyes by testing really, really well. Because I mean, yeah, look, like he's just not a great route runner. He's had some drop issues. He runs away from guys, right? But like, I don't know with that 40 and stuff. It just scares me with separation and stuff. If you don't have a team that's really designing plays for him.
So I watched the Alabama game and I fell in love with him. That touchdown, he has a 70-yard touchdown against them, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, his highlight reel. Like, if you watch the highlight reel, you're like, man, this guy's number 1 overall pick, isn't he? But
I watched a couple games, and he does disappear for sure.
This is the thing that bothers me, right? Like, Chris Olave gets hit with something very often from people who really watch him a lot, which is he got schemed a lot of production. Right? Like he didn't have any of that elite production because of the wide receivers that he's always played with. He's always played with, top tier wide receivers next to him, or across the field from him. So that's taken away a little bit from him. And then they say, okay, well, the production that he does have, a lot of it is schemed. But Treylon Burks, almost everything is schemed. Like he gets a lot of scheming to get him open. He gets a lot of scheming to
absolutely. He needs it. He's not a separator. He's not a route runner. Absolutely not.
So I just can't put a guy in tier 1 that is schemed so heavily and then doesn't go out there and test, crazy.
Did AJ Brown
to show that he
test crazy?
No, but AJ Brown was a vastly superior route runner than Treylon Burks is. AJ Brown is just an overall better football player than Treylon Burks is, and he tested better than Treylon Burks.
So I like I said, I like the traits. I love Olave. He's tier 2 for me because he's soft. He does not go over the middle. He does not win contested catches. That's not his game. Yeah, he's savvy as hell. He's a great route runner. He's fast. I don't know that he's like twitchy quick, but he does have good quickness. I see him having an excellent NFL career, but I don't see him being elite. So like I see him as a really good wide receiver, like second, like not slot, but the other side. You know what I mean? As opposed to a boundary receiver or in a stack, he's the second guy. You follow what I mean? Whereas he's probably going to need free releases. He's not going to beat press very easily. So he's not going to be your number one receiver. But, if you have a player or two that can beat press on your team, you don't need Olave to do that because teams aren't going to play press across the board. Follow what I mean?
See, I disagree. I think he can develop into a ridiculously good wide receiver that's able to beat press. I mean, he's shown his burst is one of the best in the class.
Yes, excellent burst, and right. If he can win with quickness off the line, then okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what he's going to have to win with.
He's going to have to learn that. He's definitely not going to win with physicality, and that's
So,
just what I'm saying is like there's not enough physicality for his game to be elite.
I don't think there has to be though. There's plenty of guys that rely on no physicality at all in their game. And
I would say that he reminds me a bit of Torrey Holt. I don't think Torrey Holt was the most physical wide receiver either, but he was fast and he was quick and he knew how to get up.
Yeah, he
was probably a little bit thicker.
One of the things that I really look at for the guys that I'm putting in my tier ones is I say, okay, like I look at some of their traits, some of the things that they do well, and I say, all right, can I see what like the traits that he has that he excels in? Does he do them, number one, better than anybody else in his class, right? And then number two, can I see that translating and turning into something that he can do better or in like the top, 10% of in the league? And I think with Olave, with his speed, his acceleration, his burst, his route running ability, I think all of those things kind of, together can make him one of the most dangerous route running wide receivers in getting separation in the league. Like I think that's the player he can develop into. I mean, he's an awesome route runner that's extremely fast and very quick. And I think that's dangerous.
I'm with you. So no, I'm with you. I love Olave. He's in my next tier. He's at the top of my next tier, actually. With Burks, what I see him as like a dominant big slot. So I see him as sort of a Marquez Colston or let's say Jordan Matthews if he could catch, but faster, right? He's about the same size, maybe a little stronger and a little faster and can catch. So like that's the role I see for him. He's definitely got to land in the right offense. If a team takes him and thinks that he can be their boundary wide receiver, I don't see that out of him. He's not Mike Evans at all.
Yeah, I think Treylon Burks is just going to be a guy. He's gonna have to get lucky, or like he's going to have to be drafted by somebody that wants to make him a focal point of the offense. That's just my opinion. I think I don't think if you're throwing him out there and you're saying, all right, separate, go make some plays. He's going to be
that's not his game. He's a zone beater. But I mean, Michael Thomas isn't a separator either. He knows
Yeah,
how
but
to.
I mean,
He's a rebounder.
but Michael Thomas does one thing better than anybody else in the NFL. Like,
Well,
I mean,
just
that's a
think
tough thing to ask for Treylon Burks to do one thing better than every single other person on the planet. Michael Thomas is the best, 5-yard slant runner in the NFL. Like, we've never seen anything like it. That's that's not replicable. It's you can't expect somebody else to come in. That's like Josh Allen, right? Like saying, all right, well, just go and be Josh Allen.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Do we want to talk about the next two guys in your tier, or do we move on to my next tier? Because
let's continue on with yours.
Okay, so my tier 2 is.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, let's finish mine because I'm still on tier 1, right?
Right. So, yeah, and actually, the next two guys in your first tier are not in my tier 2. So
okay, cool. So yeah, I have a Drake London who is my favorite wide receiver in the class. I think he's going to be a dominant NFL player. It was really close between him and Olave, but I don't know if it's just preference or what. I mean, he's insane. Like he's Mike Evans. Like
I don't think
Mike
so.
Evans. I think he is.
I disagree. I think he's Galladay.
What?
I don't. You would talk about a guy that doesn't separate. I never saw London get an inch of separation. Yeah, he can win contested catches, absolutely, but he's also not going to run by anybody. Mike Evans runs past people. That is not Drake London's game.
Yeah, but Mike Evans wins most of his catches like with somebody on him. Like that's I mean, that's how he comes by most of his production. I mean, Drake
London does not have those wheels.
No, he doesn't. And that's, I mean,
it's going to be a big factor, and that's why I say he's more Galladay. He's a much more talented wide receiver than Galladay, especially coming out. I think you're down on Galladay because he hurt you so badly personally this year.
No, I think Galladay is a very talented player, but
I think he hurt
your prospects were completely
so
different.
Bad.
No.
Galladay's just not in a.
Galladay had a decent season as an NFL player. Like
he just wasn't in a good system with a quarterback that trusted him at all. Like they just did not use his talent at all.
Galladay is
such a horrible waste of talent this year.
Galladay is the poor man's Drake London.
Okay, now I'll give that I can see. That I understand more than Mike Evans. I just don't see Mike Evans in his game. I'm going to bring Mike Evans up in a little bit.
He does everything Mike Evans does extremely well. Like Mike Evans fighting off people and jumping up and getting the ball.
But Mike Evans runs past people. And Drake
London but most of Mike Evans' production comes with somebody on him. Like it's not like Mike Evans is just beating somebody every play.
Not every play,
getting 10 yards of separation, and
not every play, but he's got his fair share of like you don't want to single cover that guy. You need a safety over.
You don't want to single cover Drake London.
I get you. I love Drake London and I drafted him already. So I like him and I like JMO as well. And he's a beast on the field. I just think there are more talented wide receivers in this draft.
Oh, I don't think so. I think but I mean, I think we're looking at it differently because I just say, okay, well, can this guy, whatever he does, whatever his game is built off of, can he do it better than anybody else? Can I see him doing it better than anybody else in the NFL?
All right, I'm dying
when he develops.
I'm dying to get to my next tier because I've got a guy. All right, so I have Olave.
Well, hold on. Let's stick with Drake London first, and then we'll move on to your guys. So
because I want to compare him to another guy in this draft that I think that does what Drake London does, but better.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get to your guy. Whatever you have in mind. So I mean Drake London, he might not have that speed separation that you're talking about, right? But he does separate. He just does it out of physicality. And it's not much separation, but in the NFL, you're never getting much separation. Even
Yeah,
the
I
guys
follow
that
what
get
you're saying.
separation in the NFL,
He does get the big man separation where like he presents a target,
yeah,
where he can
yeah,
box out is what I'm saying. For
really,
sure.
really well,
Yeah.
really, really well. I mean, he
Yeah,
plays with
he's
some
an
strength
excellent
that,
rebounder. He really is. I would love to have him on the Sixers, to be
like,
honest.
he's not like the guy that you're saying, okay, doesn't get separation, and the quarterback's going to have to make this, like, tight window throw to him to get him the ball, or, like, throw a jump ball to him every play. Like, that's not. I mean, I think that's a little bit misleading. Like, he gets separation. It's
Mhm.
just, it looks like he gets separation the same way Gronkowski gets separation, right? Like, it's just all based off of strength and route running. So I mean, I think he's going to be a very, very dangerous player. Um,
I love him. He's tier 3 for me in this draft, but that's still really, really, that's still first round.
yeah, I mean, this
You
class
know?
is pretty deep at wide receiver.
It
So, and I
really
think
is.
everybody loves somebody different.
There's a lot of really, really good players. All right, so let's hit the last guy in your tier 1, Jamison Williams.
Yeah, so Jamison Williams, I think Jamison Williams, if it wasn't for the injury, would be my number one wide receiver.
Yeah, you're not going to get any arguments from me. That guy has elite written all over him.
Yeah,
elite speed,
he's
elite quickness.
ridiculous.
He can run a route. He's got elite hands. I love him. I love him.
Yeah.
He looks like a wide receiver 1 in the NFL to me.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. And I mean, it's ridiculous, but to estimate or guesstimate, if you will, what his 40 time would have been. But I think he's running in the 4.2s.
Yeah, I think he's got Ruggs speed, but is a much more complete wide receiver than Ruggs, and just bigger and stronger.
Yeah, I think he's, and I mean, how much I liked Waddle last year. I think he's a better Waddle. Honestly, I think he's a better Waddle.
He's bigger.
Yeah, I mean, just he can do everything Waddle can do, and he's just more physical.
He's got that. You think he's got better quickness than Waddle? I mean, I think he's probably got better speed, deep speed. Tracks the ball very well.
I think he's probably as explosive as Waddle. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's ridiculous.
Explosive players in the NFL is Waddle.
No, he's ridiculous. Like I remember after the injury, me going like, man, like this is gonna hurt him, right? And I follow Daniel Jeremiah pretty closely, like after the college season ends and we get closer to NFL offseason time when we're starting to talk about rookies and everything, and he was still mocking Jamison Williams, or not mocking, but like having him on the big board as like a top 5 talent right after the injury. And I think this is before we knew the extent of the injury and everything. But I mean, I was like, man, like I hope this doesn't hurt him too much. I'm glad the NFL still loves him so much that they're saying he's still going to go, mid first round. But man, I hope he falls to the like late first, early second or something, so my team can make a play at him. But yeah,
I have this weird feeling he's going to the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean
3 firsts.
If I were you, I'd be jumping up and down if he does.
I would be so happy if that happens. I'd be so happy if that happens.
He's so
because
good. He's so
we
good.
can wait. We can wait on him anyway. I'm not really expecting huge things out of Hurts because we got to wait till next year to get our quarterback anyway. So it's fine. Let's stack up a weapon for him, whoever that's going to be. Bryce Young.
Yeah, gosh, man, I don't even want to. I'm just going to gush over him for like an hour. So we'll move on to your tier 2.
Yeah, I have both of those two guys, London and Williams, in my tier 3. London, I told you why. Williams, it's only because of the injury. So yeah. To me, there's always a above 1% chance that a player doesn't come back the same after an ACL. So
Yeah.
it's happened to plenty of players. Hopefully it doesn't happen to him. Obviously, we just saw it with Tariq Cohen. Hell of a talented player. Hate to see his career go down the tubes. So I mean, most likely Williams is going to come back and be, most guys come back from an ACL and are stronger. So that's the way modern medicine is now. And nothing says that it's anything more than a simple ACL tear. I actually looked into it, and there's nothing, like no special circumstances that I can see. So
yeah, they're saying he's recovering pretty well too.
Right. So hopefully he comes back and he's fine. But just because of that, I personally have to bump him down a tier.
Oh, I did bump him down a tier because he was tier 1 by himself before.
Nice. Okay. Right on.
Yeah,
right on. All right. So maybe I don't bump him down 2 tiers. Actually, that's true. So I have Olave in my tier 2. And then the guy that I see as Mike Evans in this draft is George Pickens. Man, is that dude talented. When I see him versus Drake London, he can do everything that Drake London does, but then he can also run past people. He's just smooth and quick and can also get open. Like he can run a route and get separation at his size, which is very uncommon. I've seen some negatives on him. In fact, I talked to Brandon Lejeune when I was on with Brian Ford on Dynasty Fever. Brandon Lejeune from Devi Dashboard, another Philly fan, shout out. And he had some really bad things to say about Pickens' desire, and like basically when he knows he's not getting the ball, he doesn't really run his route and he won't block and just sort of like dogs it. That's the kind of thing that's so subjective, and I didn't see any of it when I was watching, but obviously I didn't watch every play of his. I watched a couple games, and
I mean, his coach called him out like a couple of times for not being very disciplined or something like that.
So, I mean, it's definitely a concern. But man, the talent, he's so talented. This guy could easily be in the tier 1 if it weren't for that for me. So that's the only thing that bumps him down. If
and the injury, you just talked about Jamison Williams, right? In the ACL.
Yeah, but he came back from his injury, didn't he? He played in the national championship game, didn't
he? Yeah, but I mean, you still don't know, like, how...
If a guy comes back and plays, he's healthy. Okay. I guess.
Okay.
But I mean, again, I bumped him down. He's in tier 2.
Yeah.
Like if it weren't for those, I guess, 2 concerns, injury and attitude, man, he'd be above Garrett Wilson for me. Like his talent is above Garrett Wilson's. His ceiling is above Garrett Wilson's. He could be a number 1 elite wide receiver in this league, and I don't really see that out of Garrett Wilson. What do you think about him? Like, all right, so let's put the attitude, sort of subjective stuff aside. What do you see on a talent basis for him?
Yeah, I think he's very talented. He has all of the traits. He's never really, had the elite numbers that you kind of like to see for a guy that just seems to have all the boxes checked.
Playing on a running offense with crappy quarterbacks, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, he did put up numbers. It's not like he didn't put up numbers.
Yeah. I mean, how many yards did he have like in the 3 years that he was there?
Now you're going to make me look it up because I don't know. I
don't think it was very much. I don't think it was very much at all. I think that's what a lot of people are kind of holding against him. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head because I don't, follow Georgia religiously, but I don't think it was very much.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Obviously he didn't play much this year.
I think it was like under 1,500 yards or something.
It is. Yeah. I mean, he only had 500 yards in 2020, but didn't he opt out for him? Oh no, he got hurt that year, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the year before as a freshman, he put up 727 yards and 8 touchdowns as a freshman. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's dealt with a lot of injuries. You make a good point. I'm looking at his picture right now, and he's sort of like, yeah, whatever, I'm good.
I mean,
You know,
he has all the
he's
traits.
looking kind of smug in this picture. To be honest,
I mean, you're right. He has all the traits. Like he
I,
could be.
I just love him on the field. I just love his like what I saw out of him. I just thought was amazing. He just looks great to me. He looks like he could be Mike Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he's quite that fast, but I think Mike Williams was really fast, right? Or
I don't know.
because what he run like a high 4.47? I mean, a high 4.4s, high 4.47, high 4,
I don't know.
4.48, 4.47.
Really,
No, I'm talking
high.
about Pickens.
I didn't think Pickens ran at the combine.
I don't know. I remember seeing it somewhere when I was doing my rankings. Maybe it was like a
Well, mid 4.4s is really fast for a guy that size.
Yeah. I think maybe it was his high school times. I know sometimes when they don't run the combine, they list the high school times there.
Gotcha. I mean, I love him. I love him. I will say that excuse me. It might be tough for me to take him over London, just because I do think London is definitely safer. I don't know. So in the draft that we just did,
well, I mean, London's also I think a bit bigger too.
Yeah, he is definitely bigger. You're right.
Yeah.
I think Pickens is 6'2", where London I think is 6'3" or 6'4".
No, London I think is 6'5".
Is he really 6'5"? Okay.
I don't know. Did he or maybe he measured in smaller? But
I thought he was 6'4".
during USC that's what they had him listed as. He could have. Yeah, he could have measured in smaller.
So for context, we just this draft that we just did, just to show where I would take a guy. It's kind of hard for me to say actually, because Olave, I had 109, 10, and 11, and Olave and Pickens were already gone. So I think they went like 7 and 8 or 6 and 8.
Yeah.
Olave went pretty high actually. Somebody really liked him. So I went Kenny Pickett because I needed a quarterback, and then London and Jamison Williams. So I toyed around with the idea of taking Spiller instead of Williams, but then I just thought Jamison Williams and London are both better talents. Like,
yeah,
Jamison Williams is an elite talent, and I just can't. I took Drake London already, and I was thinking between Jamison Williams and Spiller. Well, Spiller's definitely safer, and I'm definitely not definitely, but hopefully would get earlier production out of him. But I just can't pass up on elite talent for a safety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would you have done?
I hear you, man.
What would you have done with those 2 picks, 10 and 11?
It's kind of team dependent, I guess, until the NFL draft happens, right?
It's a rebuilding team, so I'm just trying to stack talent. Like, I'm just trying to put the best talent on my team.
I think most people are going to do their rookie drafts after the NFL draft, so it's probably not even a worry. But running backs, that I don't think are the best in the class are always just scary to me, because if they don't get the at least third round capital, then they're tanked. You're in trouble.
Right.
So whereas wide receivers, if Jamison Williams doesn't go in the first, he's going with a high second, and so that's just safe right there. Yeah. So I mean, you can look at it 2 different ways: the safety of if the running back does get high value, probably earlier production, or the safety of, hey, I know this guy's going to get draft capital. And Spiller, as much as I like him, would I be completely utterly shocked if he went in the back of the 3rd round or something? Like, no, just because he's a running back. So it's just how it is.
You didn't answer my question. You're very slippery. Would you have taken Williams or Spiller?
I probably would have taken Williams. I probably would have taken Jamison Williams. So your tier 3, who do you have there?
Jahan Dotson. Love this man. And Sky Moore. And then
let me go. I'm sorry, I didn't even list my tier 2.
Yeah. Duh.
So
we skipped your
my
tier 3.
Yeah,
your tier 2.
We spent so long on tier 1s in your tier 2 that
well, there's a lot of guys in there.
I forgot. Yeah, no, there's a ton. My tier 2, I have 3 guys in there. I have Treylon Burks, who we already discussed in length. I have Jahan Dotson, who we're just about to get on.
Right.
That's how I got reminded. And then Pickens. In
Pickens,
no particular order, of course. So, but yeah, those are my tier 2 guys. I guess we can talk about Jahan Dotson now, right? So, go ahead.
Oh man, I love this guy. He's got speed, he's got quicks, he's smooth, he can run a route, he's savvy, he's actually stronger than his size would make you think. I've watched a lot of Penn State because my family are huge Penn State fans, and even though I don't watch college football on a Saturday, if I have to turn on the TV, it's Penn State. So I just love Jahan Dotson. He reeks of just a solid NFL wide receiver to me. It's just written all over him. What do you think?
Yeah, he's just a smooth kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just so silky smooth. Just the way he moves reminds me of I don't know. Like I can only think of I wish I could think of a mid-tier guy. Maybe I don't know, maybe Macklin. Although I just think he's faster and smoother than Macklin.
I'll give you a more recent one. So the guy that I remember, like the last time I remember watching and of course I watched Jahan Dotson a lot in college, but you kind of get a feel when these guys are on the combine or at the combine and they're running around in shorts. You even get a kind of an easier feel for their just silky smoothness when they're running their routes.
Yeah.
At least for me, that's just how I've always been able to tell very easily. Yeah, I mean, last time I remember somebody running that smoothly in and out of their breaks and stuff, in shorts, probably doesn't account for much, but was Justin Jefferson. And I fell in love with Justin Jefferson. He was my favorite wide receiver in the class. And I remember thinking like, man, like he may not be the route runner that Jerry Jeudy is, or was when they were coming out, but he's just smooth. And the same thing with Jahan Dotson. Like Jahan Dotson's not the best route runner in the class, but man, he's just smooth. Like he just makes it look effortless. It almost looks like art when he's running routes. Like it's not, these sudden like stutter steps, or it's just silky smooth.
I love him so much.
I've
acquired 2 shares of him already in this offseason.
Yeah.
So like I got him in a Devi league for the 202. I thought that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And,
I guess the NFL term, I'm sorry, this just popped into my mind. The NFL term that people say is like, when they say, "Oh, this guy has no wasted movements." Jahan, that's exactly what I think of. Like, that phrase just pops into my mind. Yeah, no wasted movement.
To me, it's like his feet aren't really even moving. He's just sort of gliding,
Yeah.
I just lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. And the second share of him that I've already acquired was in that draft that we were just talking about. MFL, the worst platform, sorry, MFL fans, but the worst platform for fantasy football, had him buried down on the list. So he fell. I guarantee that's why he fell, because there were a lot of really good people in that draft. And I meant to take him and forgot about him and took Trey McBride. Luckily, with the 202, which was actually the 17th pick. So luckily, the guy after me didn't take him, and I had the next pick, and I was like, man, and just sweating that one out. And he fell, and I took him, and it didn't cost me. But man, it would have ruined my whole draft if I didn't get Jahan Dotson. All right. Still there?
Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. Rookie mistake.
No problem, Jerry.
So let's hop into your tier 3.
Yeah. So actually, that London and Williams is my tier 3.
Oh,
so okay. What's your tier 3?
So my tier 3 is Sky Moore and John Mechie the III. So yeah, I think Sky Moore. If there was one guy that you would have told me that, hey, this guy's going to go in the late second round and he's going to be the best wide receiver in the class, it's going to be Sky Moore. like somebody is going to get an absolute steal. And the reason I say he's not going to go in the first is because there's just so many guys that, teams hold in such higher regard. Just because, Sky Moore was never really talked about like that. But during this draft process, I think he's done himself a lot of favors with his combine and with just how he's really shown himself out there. But playing for Western Michigan is only going to get you so far as a wide receiver, as far as draft capital goes. So I think he can go. I think he can go early to mid second. But if he went late second, I think somebody's getting a crazy steal.
Agreed. Yeah, that's part of that's the one guy I saw at this combine from watching this combine that once I saw him, I was like, whoa, wow. Like he just he is way bigger and thicker and just has like his arms are so long. Like compared to his frame, he must have like outlier reach. I don't know what the numbers are, but
I haven't looked.
Looking at his frame, he's just really thick, and just to be as fast and quick as he is, and smooth and can really good hands. I love Sky Moore.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
So he's what, like 5'10", 5'11"?
Yeah. 5'10",
and he has the largest hands in the class.
Yeah, I did hear that too. Like, and that, like I said, like you could see that he's also got the largest like shoulders and arms, and he's just big, man.
He's built different. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect that out of him. I expected to see, just like a kind of a smaller, fast, speedy guy. And no, he's like physically imposing.
God, you know what? Like
he could be the next Steve Smith.
I'm gonna throw him in my tier 2. Like
really,
I don't see why not. Like the only reason I have him in tier 3 is because he played for Western Michigan. That's the only reason.
I just have my tiers broken up like more than you do. Like I mean we have the same guys, slightly different order. I'm higher on Burks and Pickens, and you're higher on London, and Williams.
Yeah, I just don't.
But I still love both of those guys, and you still like, Burks and Pickens. So
yeah, I think
and
that
I've got
so
Mechie
different.
I've got Mechie in my next tier with Dotson, Sky Moore, and Mechie. Those are the three I have in that tier.
I think everybody's so different that it's just kind of hard to kind of rank these guys because they all do something different very well.
Yeah.
So they're not exact, comparisons with each other, if that makes sense.
Right.
They're just different breeds of wide receiver. Like if wide receiver was broken further into different positions, then you could break these guys into different positions. Like they're just so different from one another.
Right. They are. Yeah. They not all these guys play the same position, even though they're called wide receivers. So that's 100% right. You got 3-4 different positions here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's legitimately the only reason I have Sky Moore in tier 3 is because of the college he went to, which I think is a crime. So I like him just as much as I like Jahan Dotson and Pickens and Treylon Burks. I mean, as much as I'm sure people think that's blasphemous with Treylon Burks. But I think
right on.
I think a year from now, if somebody said Sky Moore was the best receiver in the class, I'm not shocked.
I think he could be extremely productive. I don't like him more than like Wilson or Olave or Pickens, but I could see him being better than Pickens if those negatives come around on him. But like I think Wilson and Olave are just about locks.
Yeah. Well, Wilson and Olave are my tier 1s. I'm talking about moving him to tier 2.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah.
See, that's how I feel about Dotson, though. Like, if this time next year you told me he was the best rookie wide receiver, I wouldn't be surprised in the least.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
it happens every year.
Pro ready.
It happens every year. A round 2 guy kind of makes himself into the top, 1, 2, or 3 in the class.
Yep.
Sometimes even a 3rd round pick. So
Devontae Adams.
Why not Sky Moore?
But it took a couple years for Adams, but I mean, he was a 2nd round pick.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was back when that was kind of the thing, right? Like where it just took guys a little bit longer.
Yeah, right.
John Mechie.
God. Oh, can I just tell you before you, before you spill yourself all over the microphone.
Go ahead,
I know
man.
how much you love him.
Yeah.
I think that John Mechie could, if not for the injury, tomorrow be a starting wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
I love his game. I actually kind of like him better than Garrett Wilson, who I also think is a day one starter. Mechie could be at the easily tier 1 in this class if not for that injury. I love him.
Yeah, that injury's a bummer.
Mm.
It's a bummer.
I mean, it would go, if not for the injuries, it'd go Williams, Mechie, Garrett Wilson for me.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about NFL character, right? Like a guy that's going to go in there and work their tail off and try to get better and stuff. Like Mechie just seems like that guy,
and can just get open, whenever he wants.
Yeah, I mean, but you hear him talking. He just seems like the. Yeah, I mean, you hear him talking. He just seems like the sweetest guy in the world. Like you want to root for him. And
I haven't seen an interview with him.
Oh yeah, you don't watch college football. I was like, he plays for Alabama. But yeah,
I mean, I've watched him. Man, I love his game.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty elite. I think he was a block for first round before the injury for sure. Yeah. Which is kind of sad that it happened when it did, and I'm sure he's going to end up, going somewhere in the second round. But it happened before. It
happened before Jamison Williams, so he should be healthy before Jamison Williams, right?
Yeah. I don't know why Mechie's injury is talked about so much. Maybe it was a more intense
gotcha. Yeah, maybe it was worse
grade. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why. I'm not going to pretend to know, but yeah, I mean, I think he does so many different things well. The only thing he doesn't do well to me is he's just not that big. Like he's just a kind of frail looking slight dude. And so that just kind of naturally is going to mean he gets pushed around a little bit. But other than that, I mean, there's not a single knock on him that I could think of.
Yeah, but he'll fight. I've seen him fight for balls, and it's not like he doesn't play small. And
no.
And young men develop into men, and he'll develop some strength, I believe.
Yeah.
Not a lot of guys go through their entire career being Kenny Stills.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, like he's a good blocker. Like, and he's a frail dude. So I mean, that's just it. Like he's going to give it to you. He's going to give you all he has, but
I thought I saw more toughness in his game than Olave, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He didn't have the speed, probably not the speed or quickness of Olave, but tougher and elite hands.
Yeah, I don't think their speed is maybe that far apart though.
I mean, I'm guessing when I say that. I don't
really
know.
He's definitely plays with a lot more strength than Olave. That's just not Olave's game, but Olave is just a much better route runner. Like Olave. Yeah. Olave is maybe like an elite route runner, and I think Mechie's good. I think he does everything well, but yeah, he's a dog. He's going to fight for every ounce of everything he's going to get. So,
before we go on to the next tier, I forgot to ask you: what are you drinking today? Are you drinking anything tonight?
Coffee.
Oh, that's right. I did ask you.
Yep. I've been up for longer than I usually am. So
what kind of coffee?
Earlier than I usually do. You heard of those Nespressos?
Yeah. Oh, Nespresso. Yeah. Yes, I have.
Yes.
That's instant, right?
Yeah. It's like the I guess like the European Keurig, right?
Yeah.
So it's just better quality coffee.
Gotcha.
So I got some Nespresso coffee. It's good stuff.
Right
it's a Kenyan light roast.
Kenyan light roast. Okay. All right, moving on. So this will be my tier 5. It's going to be your tier 4. But that's just we've got all of the same players up until now. We've just got them broken up a different and probably ranked a little different.
Yeah.
So my next tier is going to be just two guys, Jalen Tolbert, and Alec Pierce.
Yep.
So
love Alec Pierce.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You know what? There's shit. The other guy in this tier is Christian Watson.
Yep, I have him in my next tier as well.
So he's borderline in the above tier. The problem with Christian Watson is very, very raw. Great tester, great athletic ability. He's going to need some development. Probably same thing with Pierce. He tested extremely well. Tolbert,
extremely well is an understatement. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand.
Right. That guy made himself some money on Combine Day.
Like Alec Pierce, I was I watched a lot of Cincinnati because I'm a Desmond Ridder stan, right? And
right.
And Alec Pierce, man, like I knew he was fast, and I knew he was athletic. But holy crap, did he kill that combine? I mean, he's at the top of almost every event. Like,
right.
He's like what, 6'4" or 6'3" or something like that.
Yeah, and I had no idea who the hell he was until the combine. And I was like, holy shit, this guy needs some attention. So, and then Jalen Tolbert is just a dog, man. That guy can play.
Yep.
He tested well. He didn't test through the roof or anything, but for his size,
he tested well. Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay. I just thought he played bigger than his size, and
he just tested like decent. Yeah, like
okay.
not extremely well, just
right.
Whatever.
Right. Yeah. Just. But yeah, like I said, I thought he played bigger than his size. I liked his toughness and saw some contested catches out of him. So I like Jalen Tolbert. I think he could play in the NFL.
Yeah, no arguments from me.
I would have no problem taking either any of these three guys in the late second of a rookie draft. No problem at all.
Yep.
So that makes this draft a lot deeper than last year.
So the tier 4, my tier 4 has those three guys that you mentioned, and then I also just have one guy added in, which is Calvin Austin.
Okay.
Who I
He's
think
the
is
super fast guy, right?
Yes.
I did not watch anything on him.
He is the speedy guy from Memphis. He is small and fast, but I mean, like when we're saying fast, we're talking about like he would be at home at the Olympics, like
Right. Right.
He's fast. Like he's track star fast.
That's my so I have a dark horse that's not in a tier, but I have a guy like that too, who's a dark horse, has just is the tiniest guy or whatever, but is Danny Gray, same kind of thing. Just fast as hell and pissed off when he doesn't run like sub 4.3. He's done it apparently. In practice, run like a 4.25 is for what they're saying or whatever. So he's very disappointed in his numbers, but this kid can fly. He's tiny. And then I guess then there's just one other guy that we didn't discuss, right? Speaking of little teeny, Wan'Dale Robinson.
Oh yeah, I'm not really high on.
Are you going to draft him outside, like before the third?
Probably not.
I mean,
unless the draft capital is there, right? Like, I mean, it just depends.
Nah, I think he's I think it's the same thing last year with like Tutu Atwell and Eskridge. You can go in the second round all you want. We're not going to be fooled.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? Like Wan'Dale Robinson, like if he gets in the right offense, he could be okay. Like
he's like 5'7" and skinny as hell.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a place.
I hear you as a gadget player. I just don't think he has room on a. He seems like a roster clogger on a dynasty roster to me.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
I'd rather have Colin Powell.
But I did want to talk about Calvin Austin a little bit because we kind
Oh,
of
I'm
just
sorry. I'm
glanced
sorry.
over.
I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I thought we were done with him. My bad.
No,
Go
no, no,
for it.
that's
Go for
good.
it.
That's good. I mean, I think we just spoke about his speed a little bit, but I mean, it would be kind of a disservice if we didn't just talk about, he is a football player. Like he's a pretty good route runner. He's uh, he's smart. He understands the field and how to find the soft spots of zones, and he's good tracking the ball. He's a legitimate vertical threat. Like he can do damage as a pass catcher as well. Um, I like him a lot. The only thing that, again, just the size, right? Like he's a small dude. He's like 5'9", 170 pounds probably, maybe. And that's probably giving him a little bit of
Right.
Maybe he's packing his pockets with pennies or something. But
so he's
yeah,
Zahir. He's Zahir Akeem at his pinnacle.
He's probably the same size as Rondale Moore.
Yeah, but he doesn't have those. He didn't name his thighs.
No. Yeah. He's probably the same size, like height, but but
he's not that thickness.
They do two different things. Yeah.
You know what? So, I'm sorry. Can I just ask you about Rondale Moore a little bit since we're sort of nearing the end of this? What do you think of his prospects this year? Are you still high on him?
Yeah, I like him.
Right on.
Yeah, I like him. So I think he's going to just have to get the opportunity. Mm-hmm. He showed the damage he can do in the open field, but I think it's a little bit of a crime how he was used last year, where just because a guy can, get you some yards after the catch doesn't mean that you have to throw it to him, start him off with -3 yards every play.
Yeah.
Well,
they stopped using him altogether towards the end of the year. Why couldn't he get on the field? That's my question.
I don't know. I mean, the Cardinals are starting to become a place where wide receivers go to die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, that's just is what it is, right? Like, no one guy has gone there and done really well except for Hopkins, and he's just, if he's going there and not doing well, then there's something extremely wrong.
Do you think it's just because they spread the ball around too much?
I think so. I think it's just too scheme reliant, and if you're not the guy that's just the offense is revolved around, you're just not getting the work.
Right. Right. So it's too week to week as far as
yeah.
So I mean, it's really good if you're an NFL, if you're a Cardinals fan, if they're scheming up their opponent every week, then hey, that's what I want my team to do. But from a fantasy standpoint, that sucks.
Yeah, hopefully with Christian Kirk leaving and Hopkins getting another year older, they start really trying to test out what they have there with Rondale Moore, because
and AJ Green left too.
Yeah,
and that guy just vultured targets last year.
Yeah, it was nasty what he was doing over there.
And what I noticed, and I say I noticed it. It was pointed out to me, and then I started watching for it. Christian Kirk was the main target against teams that played a lot of zone, and then AJ Green was basically their man beater on the outside, and that's how they played it last year. So like when teams played a lot of man, AJ Green got a lot of targets. This is when D-Hop was out, and then when teams played a lot of zone, Kirk would get a lot of targets. So both those guys are gone, and I don't know. Hopefully, we can get a little more consistency, and it'll be D-Hop, D-Hop, Rondale Moore, Connor, and whatever. I expect them to bring in another weapon in the draft.
Yeah. Hopefully, Rondale Moore gets a little bit more work, and hopefully they try to use him a little bit more traditionally. Not saying that he needs to be a traditional wide receiver, but just let him get some, regular pass sets as running out of the slot or something, and not just a pure gadget guy 100% of the time.
But don't stop with the gadget plays either.
No, don't stop with it, but I mean also give him the opportunity to be more than that.
Give him 5 to 7 real wide receiver targets in a game. I'd be right happy with that.
Exactly. Yeah, so and I wasn't, and the crazy thing is, like, I feel like I do this every year, where I'm not very high on a guy, and the dynasty community is extremely high on a guy. And then the next year when they don't meet that, almighty threshold that everybody had them, held to, then they get super low on a guy. And I'm still like, okay, I wasn't as high on him, but now I'm higher than everybody else.
Right. Yeah, that happens a lot.
That's kind of what Rondale Moore is like right now. Like I wasn't very high on him coming out like everybody else was, trying to get him in the first round and stuff. But I liked him, I thought he was a very talented player. I mean, you get the ball in his hand and he can do some damage. I think for the majority of the year, he was leading in broken or forced missed tackles for wide receivers. And that's with very little work. Him and Kadarius Toney were doing it. So,
right.
Yeah,
it's another guy I'm still really high on is Kadarius
Me too.
Toney. Those are my twins from last year.
I'm
just holding them on rosters.
He's just got to stay healthy, man. Those injuries, which we all knew coming in, right? Like those were always a concern.
He's so super twitchy and just that guy can cut.
His body does things that the human body is not allowed to do, and that's why, that's what concerns me. Is I'm like your body shouldn't be doing those things, and you're
guys
always
blow
hurt.
ACLs
And this is the reason why you're always hurt.
Right?
I don't think a human body is meant to be jolted that many times. Like he is so rough on his body.
He definitely plays like a guy bigger than him too.
Yeah, remember I told you. Remember I was telling you when he was coming out, and I was like, man, everybody's too low on this guy. Like the only concern I have with him is that he plays like Debo, but he doesn't have Debo size, and Debo can't even hold up. And Debo is Debo, right? This guy's not going to be able to hold up, but he is a freak.
Man, that 180-yard game he had last year, he was just so dominant. He was just unstoppable.
He looked like the best player on the field.
By far. I can't wait to see that again. With a real offensive coordinator. With Dable in charge, I can't wait to see him.
Unfortunately, the analytical guys really killed the perception of him coming into the draft year because he was a recent convert to wide receiver,
right?
And so he maybe wasn't as polished, and he also didn't have the production, like the early breakout age and everything like that everybody's looking for, the dominator and stuff like that, because he just recently converted, right?
He wasn't an analytics guy, right?
Yeah, so they kind of hurt the perception of him, and then you have where he comes out and has that game, and a lot of people, I mean, who's watching the Giants unless you're a Giants fan, right? So
I do, because I'm always rooting.
Yeah, well, you're NFC East, right? Yeah, so
exactly.
We all watch each other, but yeah, I mean, every time he was healthy, he looked like the best player on the Giants, which is not saying much, but I mean, he looked like an elite player. As far as
absolutely
being dynamic.
Yeah. Absolutely the most dynamic player on the field. And they've got Saquon Barkley on their team.
Yeah. So that's saying something. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just it. If he's got to stay healthy. He's got to stay healthy.
Are we doing tight end here tonight?
Yeah, let's do it real quick. All
right. So, all right, you go first.
Okay. So tier 1, Trey McBride.
You don't have Wiedemeyer in there?
Oh, no. He's tier 3.
Tier 3? Okay. Who's your... So I have McBride and Wiedemeyer tier 1. Why are you so down on Wiedemeyer? Last time we talked, you liked him.
I mean, I last time I talked, I had him tier 2. Now I have him tier 3 because he is ungodly slow.
Okay.
That 40-yard dash is something that scared the crap out of me.
Okay. So just up front, I'm going to say I've done zero work on tight end. All I know is what I knew coming out of the year, basically coming out of the season, basically. So go on.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up now what he ran because I don't want to misquote. Yeah, he ran a 5.03 second 40.
Oh,
there's O-line, there's guards that are faster than him.
Wow. I ran a 5 flat when I was in high school, and I'm like abnormally slow for my size.
Yeah.
He's way bigger than me.
He's a big boy, but I mean, you look at Trey McBride, who's an all-around better player than Weidermeyer is to begin with, and then
five flat is slow.
And then Trey McBride ran a 4.65, and they're the same size, roughly.
Right on.
But yeah, I mean, if Weidermeyer was a little bit,
McBride can't block at all, though, right?
Yeah, he can block.
Can he? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like a Kittle or anything. But yeah, he can block. I mean, he's just a decent hybrid tight end. I mean, no, he's a good hybrid tight end, but he's a decent blocker.
I took McBride with like the 202, which was the 17th pick, I think I said earlier. Middle second round of a rookie draft. I mean, if I'm expecting him to get mid to high second NFL draft.
Yeah, second round. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's realistic?
He could possibly go earlier. I think he could possibly go in like the very, very early second.
Okay.
I mean, I would even say, he's a guy that the Giants would kind of be looking at there at the 105. I mean 205, sorry.
205.
Yeah, the 205. Hopefully not the 105, right?
I mean, Gettleman's not in charge anymore, so you don't have to worry about that.
But no, McBride is a classic hybrid tight end. I guess what we would call a classic hybrid tight end.
Compare him to Gesicki for me.
Well, you can't do that because Gesicki
I'm sorry, you're right, because Gesicki's fast.
He's a freak.
And he's got insane hands.
Yeah, Gesicki's like a freak athletic specimen. Like,
my bad. So
I would say that Trey McBride is a better Cole Kmet.
How about Goddard? Compare him to Goddard.
I think Goddard's a better pass catcher, not a better blocker. Like, I think that that McBride is a true hybrid tight end. Like, he's a true inline. Can be used as a good receiving option. But he's the best receiving tight end in the class, period, for me.
Okay. Goddard had to come around as a blocker. He was pretty bad when he got drafted.
McBride's definitely a better blocker.
He's passable. He's okay now. I wouldn't call him good, but he's passable now.
Yeah. So I think he's the best receiving tight end in the class, but you can't compare him with like the absolute freak tight end pass catchers like Goddard and Gesicki, and those guys were like elite measurables, guys that can were like that was their predominant role. Like this guy is really good at it, but he's also a very strong blocker.
How about Ertz? Like not Ertz now, Ertz back in the day.
No, like see, I think you're making me say negative things about Trey McBride, but like,
well, I'm just saying because Ertz was never really like fast or freakish athletic.
But I don't remember Ertz as a prospect. I just remember Ertz as a player, right? Like Ertz is one of the best tight ends like in the league in his time.
Yeah, well, you're right. He was an elite blocker too. So
yeah,
that's
he's just an elite tight end. Like he was at
all right, compare him to Kelsey. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean that's where we're going, right? That's where we're trending.
Right. Okay. So all right, so Kmet.
Yeah, I think he's like a better Kmet. Like I think he just does everything better than Kmet. But the same kind of player where Kmet just is very well rounded. I think McBride is very well rounded, but just does everything better.
I mean, I have no problems taking this guy, after Jahan Dotson. Early second.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a tight end premium, 1.75 league, I mean, to be honest, I really, really liked Freiermuth last year. I think I like McBride a little bit better than Freiermuth coming out. Wow. I mean, not now. I like Freiermuth better now because he's the proven entity,
I loved Freiermuth coming out, and I thought it was a crime like how late he went last year.
Yeah, I really like Freiermuth.
I scooped up so much of him because of that. I have a lot of him.
So did I, but I think I like McBride a little bit more coming out because I think he's going to be incredibly hard to take off the field, Yeah, he's going to be incredibly hard to take off the field.
Right on. Okay. Who's your tier 2?
my tier 2, I think I'm actually going to move Weidemeyer to tier 3.
Yeah, you did. You said that earlier.
Oh, did I? Okay, yeah. I thought I had him in tier 2. I'm going to move him to tier 3. And then my tier 2 is Jeremy Ruckert and Isaiah Likely.
I like Likely. I again have been forced to watch a little Coastal Carolina, and yeah, he can move, he can catch. He looks like a solid player to me. It's really hard for me to judge, in the conference that they play, but yeah, I like him. He's got good size. Definitely can move. Can you add anything, like any actual analysis?
Yeah, I mean, just a very athletic guy. He's not as good of a blocker as McBride is. But that's not saying much, right? McBride is a really good blocker. But yeah, I mean, he's decent. He's okay at blocking. And he's just a very athletic guy. I think he has a pretty high upside when it comes to tight ends. I think he can do everything well enough and go out there and be a mismatch a little bit. So
right on.
He's also, I think, a tad smaller than your like McBrides and Weidermeyers and stuff. I think he's not undersized. Like he's not like Evan Ingram or anything, but I think he's maybe around that 235, 240 range.
Right.
If I'm remembering right.
All right, so talk to me about Ruckert.
Ruckert, yeah, that's a guy. I think I'm higher on him than most people.
Yeah, it seems like it because I haven't really heard his name much.
Yeah, he's a guy that I'm gonna get everywhere because I think I'm gonna be able to get him in like the mid to late third round if he gets good draft capital. And he's just a very good versatile tight end. He's let me pull this stat up because there was some stat where when he was targeted let me see, because he didn't get a lot of play as a pass catching tight end. Like his stats weren't incredible or anything.
Okay, where did he go to college? I'm sorry.
Oklahoma. Oklahoma, Ohio State. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So like huge competition for targets.
Yeah, exactly. So, he didn't get a lot of play, but here it is. When he was targeted in 2021, the quarterback had a rating of 110.4, which I thought was insane.
I mean, it could just mean he was wide open every time he uncovered every time he was targeted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but it's still him getting open, right? Or
it could just be the defense doesn't care about him because of all the other dynamic players in their offense. I'm sure that happened sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's just a good all around player. Like
right on.
He can catch the ball very well. He's a very good blocker. He's pretty quick. Has decent release. He's just quick. He gets pretty good separation. I think he's going to be a good player. Like, again, he's one of those guys that I think it can be had in sometime around day 3, or day 2, for tight ends. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I could see him going in the early third round. And I mean, I think he could be a really good player, like a really good player.
Right on. Eagles need a backup tight end. I'd love to see it.
He doesn't do anything wrong. I mean, there's nothing that he does bad. So, I mean, I don't know. The only thing that, you could kind of hold against him is just the, he doesn't really have the stats because of the offense he was in, right? So, I don't know.
Right on. All right, so you have Weidermeyer in your tier 3. Do you have another player in your tier 3 or any other players? I guess there's just there's a couple names. Charlie Kolar.
There's two more, and one of them I'm not really going to talk about because I never watched him.
Okay.
But I just heard somebody that I really respect talk about him, and that's Kate Otten. I didn't really watch
Don't know who that
Washington.
Is. I'm gonna be honest.
I didn't watch Washington much, but anyways, I heard some good things about him. So I just gave that person the benefit of the doubt and put him in my tier 3 for now. And then it's also Jelani Woods.
Okay. Brian Ford is in chat screaming for Jelani Woods.
Yeah, I like Jelani Woods. I like Jelani Woods a lot.
Who dat?
So Jelani Woods played at Virginia. He's an above average athlete. I think he ran like a 4.6 flat or something like that in the 40. And yeah, he's a monster. He's like 6'7". So he's a decent blocker.
Okay. I would hope so at that size.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people can always get lower than him, right? So
yeah, that's true.
But he's a decent blocker. He's tracks the ball pretty well. Just a good, reliable tight end who is going to be a mismatch because of his size and his athletic ability. So yeah, I mean, he could be really good. I'm sure. Like it's going to be interesting seeing how he goes and competes in the NFL against some of these linebackers, being the size that he is. So right. I think he's got to be like 265 or something. Gotta be, right? I wonder what he measured in on the combine. But that's where I would peg him at, somewhere around 260, 265.
Wow. That's a big boy.
Yeah, and he's athletic. Like I said, I mean, he ran a 4.6, so.
Yeah, maybe he turns into a tackle later in his career.
It wouldn't be the first time. Who was the Lane Johnson, right?
Yeah. Well, Lane Johnson was actually a quarterback coming into college.
Oh, who was it that was a tight end? Was it
Well, no, he was a quarterback coming into college, and then they moved him to tight end. And then I think it was his last year he played right tackle. Yeah. Lane Johnson, best right tackle in the NFL. Love that man. I love that man. So, just the two other names that I've heard of are Charlie Kolar and Dulcich. And do you know anything about those guys?
I forgot about Dulcich.
Okay.
I love Greg Dulcich.
Okay.
I don't know why I left him out.
Okay. Right on. I'm glad I brought him up. Tell me about him.
No, I love Greg Dulcich. I might put him in tier. I mean, he's like borderline tier 2, tier 3 for me.
So you like him better than Weidermeyer?
In between. Yeah, I like him better than Weidermeyer.
Tell me about him. What's he like?
He's a very athletic player. He's quick. He's gonna be one of those kind of mismatch, just kind of good players in the passing game. So I don't think he's like fast. I'm not sure what he ran at the combine, but I don't think it was anything incredibly impressive. But he's an athletic tight end, like a very athletic tight end. Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that I can really hit him on is maybe his route running's not, very polished. And he has some drops.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's not going to be the kind of the guy you want, inline blocking on running plays or anything like that. But that's why I guess tier 3, because I just don't see him as your traditional hybrid pass catching tight end. I think he's a guy that kind of like Dawson Knox, where you throw him out there on third downs and see what he can do.
Gotcha. Sounds like a real solid 3rd round dynasty pick to me.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. I saw him sitting out there a couple times, and I took running backs instead. So maybe I should have taken him. I definitely took Algiers over him.
Yeah, I'm not big on Algiers. I probably would have went Dulce. I mean, I guess
we went over that. Yeah, we went over that earlier.
But yep. So those are the guys.
It's everything.
Who was the other guy that you had?
Charlie Kolar.
Yeah, I didn't. What was that? Iowa, right?
I don't know. You could have gone anywhere.
I think it was Iowa State.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
know. Johnson and Wales like me.
I've seen a couple of games, but I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about him. So.
All right. Cool. I think we hit everybody, man. This is a supersized episode.
Yeah.
For just me and you. It's we're at like 210.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, let's wrap this thing up. I'm out of coffee.
Yeah, man. I'm not making any more vodka drinks. I got to work another 12 or 13 hours tomorrow. So I'm keeping it under control tonight.
Well, real quick, if you were interested in that auction reality sports online league, then hit me up at chad.ld.mendoza, MENDOZA, at gmail.com. And we'll get you in there.
LD stands for Lord of Dorks, by the way.
No, it doesn't. But oh gosh,
really we have to name our episode that.
We'll let Memphis know.
All right, man. Thank you so much. This is what I needed after a long week of just toil and just servitude. So, man, I love talking football with you. Thank you for joining me, and I hope everybody else out there listening to us got as much out of this as I did.
Yeah, if they lasted this long, right? 2 hours
Right?
and 10 minutes. I'm barely lasting this long.
Yeah, but it was content filled. Like there's not a lot of fluff in this
stuff.
one. Yeah.
No, it was fun stuff. I think we went through a lot of players.
We did. We really did. I have a long sheet here, and like literally nobody uses my desk but me, and I have a very organized filing system. It's a pile of papers held down by a bottle of vodka. So I guarantee that I will still have this piece of paper that I wrote all of this down.
Yeah,
this time
the classic filing system that every office uses.
Right on, man. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. I hated missing last week. That was my first ever episode that I missed.
Yeah, of course, man.
But thank you for holding it down. You and Clay and Mike did an amazing job. I kind of felt like I needed to get back quickly.
Yeah, well, it's glad to have you back, man. It's glad to have you back. Let's wrap this thing up.
All right.
Night.
Absolutely. So for Chad Mendoza, I am Jesse Schneeman, and thank you so much for joining us, and we are out.
Later.